Well, we're joined today by Matt Tissier, just a Matt Tissier free kick away from the Olympic Park in Stratford, East London. Not normally your stomping ground. Matt, why are we here?
No, not normally my stomping ground, but we're here to launch the Win a Pro contract for next season. We've got two of the boys who are starting their pro contracts this year at Swindon and Orient, Jack and Caden, and we're here just to launch the next year's one and hopefully find some new stars in the future. Fantastic.
Well, you worked so bad yourself in your heyday. We'll get onto that in a second, but first, decent football season that's just ended. Normally, it's nice to have a break, isn't it? Enjoy the summer, but so much is happening. Can't wait for the new season to start.
Absolutely. I mean, you get to a point where you have a couple of weekends off with no football, and then you start thinking, hang on a minute, this is a bit boring actually, let's get the season back on again. And so with the changes of managers that are going on, I think there'll be a lot of movement in the transfer market. August the 17th can't come quick enough for me.
Well, you're spending a lot of time these days talking about football, obviously, a lot of the time on Sky. Just think about this: Jose Mourinho, Ollie Holloway back in the Premier League, and that's before David Moyes at Man U, new guy at Man City, Arsenal, Spurs, Martinez saying Everton in top 4 next season. I mean, they can't all do it, can they?
No, they can't. It's going to be fascinating. I think some of the press conferences will probably be more interested in some of the matches next season with the characters that are involved. Martinez, maybe I think next season's Champions League might be a little bit premature, but you know, good luck to him. He's got the ambition to try and take them there. I'm not sure he's promised that he'll take them there next season. I think that might have been a bit foolish, but I think he was just talking over the terms of his contract.
They say never go back, don't they, in life? I guess if there's one guy in football who might dispel that, it's Mr. Mourinho.
Well, I've got to be honest, I'm glad that he went back, to be honest. I think the Premier League's missed him. I think it was a breath of fresh air the last time he was here, and I'm looking forward to seeing him again, and I hope he'll be successful again. I love the way he manages, I love what he's got about him, his personality is brilliant, and I'm really looking forward to seeing him back in the Premier League.
Every Chelsea fan I've spoken to since is already assuming Chelsea are going to win loads of silverware, but you know, there are a couple of teams in Manchester and a couple of teams in North London who may beg to differ.
Well, I think the landscape is probably a little bit different to what it was the last time Jose turned up at Chelsea. So he'll have his work cut out. But Chelsea, you know, they've done all right in the last couple of years anyway. European trophies for both of the last 2 seasons. So he's got a tough act to follow. The club are used to winning trophies, so he's got a very good squad to work with there as well. And I'm sure that he can get them challenging nearer the top of the table than they were this season for the Premier League.
And there's no such bad thing as a bad Premier season, obviously, but I guess we all want it to be a little bit closer, don't we? We don't want to see somebody winning it with 6-7 weeks to go.
I think it was always going to be difficult to try and follow Aguero's last-minute winner the season before. Obviously, yeah, I think it's great for television if it goes to the last game of the season and it's a little bit more exciting. But I'm sure the Man United fans will tell you something different. You know, even the relegation places this year were sorted out before the last day of the season, which was a little bit unusual. But certainly the chase for the last Champions League spot went down to the wire.
Now, as a Southampton man through and through, I'd imagine you'd be pretty happy, wouldn't you? Because they were more than consolidated their first season back in the Premiership. And although, you know, a bit of a weird decision mid-season to change managers, but I guess they'll say it worked.
Well, I mean, we stayed up, and that was kind of the first objective this season. I think a 14th place finish was very respectable. Any team that comes up from the Championship, I think, first and foremost, will look to consolidate and stay up and just keep their head above water. But I think 14th was comfortable. And as you say, it was a slightly strange decision. But we're still in the Premier League, and that's the main thing. 16
years at Southampton, one club man, I should say. We see that anymore, do you think? This day and age, someone staying for that long at one club?
It'll be pretty rare. I think you may get it at some of the big clubs because obviously it's a lot easier to stay at a club when you're winning trophies and challenging for trophies, playing Champions League year in, year out. So I think from that point of view you will. Occasionally you may well do it. It's not very often these days.
Yeah, when you look back in your career, we've just been talking about some of your goals, and you're one of those guys. People do remember your goals, don't you? But my favourite was the keepy-uppy and then the chip over the defender at Liverpool, wasn't it? And then the volley. But you actually had one that you preferred.
Yeah, I did. My favourite one was the goal I scored against Blackburn from about 35 yards against my old mate Tim Flowers. That for me was technically the best goal that I scored in my career. There were some more important ones than that. Unfortunately, that goal came in a defeat, in a 3-2 defeat. But certainly one that sticks out was scoring the last ever league goal with Dell before the old place was demolished against Arsenal, and that was the winner in a 3-2 win.
And the other thing, of course, your penalty taking. Did you know what your record was in penalties?
I do, yeah. It was 47 successes out of 48 attempts, so not too bad.
So just tell us, I mean, you must beat yourself up every night over the one you missed.
I don't actually. It was just one of those things. Mark Crossley guessed the right way. The worst bit about it for me was that after Mark saved it, the ball came straight back to me, and from about 7 or 8 yards out, I managed to scoop over the crossbar with my left foot. So that was probably more embarrassing than missing the penalty in the first place.
If you could name one aspect that made you so good as a penalty taker, what was it? Was it just the firepower? Was it the mental stare at the goalie?
I think it was the fact that I wanted to be there. I had a really positive attitude towards it, and I looked on it as the best chance I was going to get in a football match to score a goal, and that's what I love doing. So I think the mental side of it was probably my strongest point. My technique was pretty good. I was able to side foot the ball with quite a bit of power, so I was able to keep the accuracy there. And those two things combined really meant my record wasn't too bad.
I guess the one thing that every footballer says, and take this as a compliment because it is why did that guy play so many more times for England? You're not the only one. You fall into that bracket of great players who some feel the whole team should have been built around. You can live with that, can't you?
It's not a bad collection of players that I get labelled with. There were some
Glenn Hoddle, Stan Bowles, all these guys. Artists of the game.
Artists of the game, yeah. I'm quite happy to be bracketed in those, but yeah, it would have been nice to have won more. But as a kid growing up in Guernsey, where not exactly a hotbed of football, to be the first player ever to be capped by England, to come from there is a wonderful honour for me. And yeah, if at 10 years old you would have said to me, in your career when England caps, I think I would have taken it there and then.
And I read somewhere you played for Guernsey this year, is that right?
I did a very brief appearance, yeah, a 10-minute subs appearance for Guernsey FC. They were shorter players, so they had a horrendous fixture pile up at the end of the season. And so I just helped out in one of the games. Unfortunately, we lost it 4-2, but they've still managed to get promoted. So it's back-to-back promotion since the club was formed. So it's been going really well.
No wonder goal then. No little seeds of is this the beginnings of a comeback?
No, there was no chances, unfortunately. But the boys did brilliantly this season, and I think hopefully they can keep the success going. And I'm president of the football club as well as have my brother involved as a secretary, and it's a lovely story at the moment.
So it used to be Pompey, I guess, and Brighton were the big games for you. Now it's Jersey.
Well, Jersey was always a big game. Coming from Guernsey, that's always the one that you look for. And this year in the big ratty at the end of the season, we managed to win that one as well. So it's been a good year for Guernsey.
Happy days. Well, best of luck and good to see you.
Nice to see you.